Let's go enter. Alrighty, so for this project, we are going to be working on effects control, changing the size and opacity of a clip, and adding an effect to a clip, okay? So we've already at this point know how to import our video. Once you get it, you grab it, you drag it to your timeline. The clip does not match the sequence settings. So if you recorded your video on a different setting and the timeline is not the same, then it'll automatically ask you if you want to change it. And I'm gonna go ahead and change it just because it's gonna notice how I made the screen bigger. So it fits the actual video that I shot. So depending on if you're using like an iPhone or a camera, it's going to be different settings most of the times. All right, so this is my clip. This is my control effects. Now sometimes it doesn't always pop up. So sometimes you have to click on these little lines depending on how you got your interface set up. But you want to go to effects control. Now, right now, these are all the different effects that come with this clip. So in this particular one, this is how you scale it. You make it bigger, make it smaller. You can make a copy of the clip. For example, I can go Alt, left click and drag up. Now I have two clips, one on top of the other. So the one that's on the top, let's say I wanted to make it scaled down and put it in the box. That's how I would basically do it. I can scale it that way. I can change the position of it by just going left to right. All right. If I left click on that number and pull left to right, it adjusts the area. Okay. So you might have seen videos where they have like multiple pictures on the same screen. That's one way they do it. Okay. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to experiment with all these little knots so you can see how you can control your clip. Okay. So I've changed the scale on one of my clips. Now I'm gonna go to opacity. Okay. Opacity determines if you can see through it or if you can't see through it. So I'm gonna close this part where it says motion, open opacity, go right there where it says 100%. That just basically means it's something see-through or you can't see through it. So I adjust that number where I can see through it. And that's the first two things that we're doing, okay? All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is add an effect, okay? Right now my effects are not up, my color thing is up, color, lumetric colors. So that's more of a thing we're gonna talk about it another time. But we wanna just deal with basic effects. So I'm gonna click on the effects button. I gotta wait for it to open sometimes. These desktops are not the fastest, but it's okay, they work. I'm always a little biased towards using Macs because that's what I learned on. So when I have to use a PC, I'm a little bit judgmental. All right, go to my video effects. Now all of these effects are different things that you can do to this clip to change it up, okay? So some of them, when you drag and drop, you might not see a difference because there are multiple steps, but let's go to stylize. Some of these like alpha glow, if I drag it and drop it on here, you're probably not going to notice a difference because there's multiple steps you got to do. But with this mosaic one, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it. And notice how it changed that clip. That's the effect, okay? It made it look like little pixelated dots. So if I want to adjust that effect, just like I did with the clip, since now this effect is on the clip, notice how it popped up in my effects control panel. So I can come over here and I can make adjustments. I can give it more dots horizontally and vertically. So really right now, it's all about experimenting and seeing what's at your options, okay? If you don't like that one, let's say, oh, that one I don't like, you can just turn it off or you can click on it and delete it, all right? So let's try a different effect. I like the solarize effect because it kind of gives it that cartoon effect. and then I can go look at the different options you have with Solarize. Okay, so I can just adjust it. So just kind of experiment, find something that you like. Just kind of look at the different things that you haven't had a chance to look at, see what works, see what doesn't, and in later tutorials we'll learn how to use specific effects. Okay. All right, that's pretty much it with this one. The last thing that you're going to do after you've done those three things is we're going to go export it to media encoder. Okay, so I'm done with this clip. I will go to export media.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still making a video, Jesus. So it's recording right now. So now right now it wasn't responding. Sometimes you gotta wait. Okay. With the format that I want you to use, make sure you do H.2G4. All right, that's a good high quality video that makes it smaller. Make sure you change the name. So I'm gonna double click on this. I'm gonna call it project 14 example. And then I'm gonna press save. Now I don't always use media encoder because most of the time when I'm at this point I'm done. So I'll just press export. As long as it's on H.2G4, it works fine. But if I needed to keep working on something, I would go to media exporter. So right here where it says Q, I'm always mispronounce that. Q it. I'm gonna click Q, and then it's gonna take a minute, but it's gonna open up a completely different software. But what this allows me to do is it allows me to keep working on a project while it's saving or exporting the video. Okay. So right now I'm still just waiting on it to pop up. Whenever it pops up, we would finish the process. But like again, if I was making multiple scenes, I can be working right now and it could be exporting or saving the project. Because again, sometimes that can be time consuming if you have really big clips. Okay. All right. So we're still waiting on it to open. There it is right there. It's still opening. It just popped up. Yeah, it's just popping up. And just wait. Like again, I would be probably working on something else if I was working on a project. Because sometimes with this software, I like to do it in small clips like this and then put it together at the end. All right, so we're still waiting on it to open, and it might be working slow because you notice I have Adobe After Effects up right now. So sometimes it's better to close all the softwares out, especially if your computer is not super powerful. Like this computer is a school computer, so it's good for a school computer, but it's not like a professional software computer that like processes things really fast. Okay. So now this is what it looks like, right? It's already been preset, but if I needed to change my settings, so let's say I wanted to go to MPEG, which I don't want to do that right now because that's going to make it bigger, or QuickTime. QuickTime is going to make it super big. H.2G4 seems to work the best so far. This determines where you're going to save it. You got to already have it set to where it goes to my videos, but make sure you know where you're saving it, because it don't make no sense to save it and can't find it. Okay. Sequence number 5. I could, if I needed to duplicate it, I could, but that's it. All I got to do is press play. Once I press play, it's already working. It's a real small clip, so it's going to go fast. But if it was longer, I can go back and start doing some different work right now. And instead of just sit here waiting for it to export. Okay. So sometimes you're going to use that, sometimes you're not. All right. So that's how to, and what we just did was work on effects control, as well as we worked on adding effects and adjusting them in effects control. And then we learned how to export using media encoder. All right, that's it. I know I was talking really fast. Text me, email me, send me a message if you have any questions.